Hello everybody, David McCoy, Ochimo Properties, Real Estate Matters. I'm continuing a series we've been doing, and this is frequently asked questions of commercial real estate. And this question, I think, actually is just a frequently asked question about real estate in general. And that question is, why do I need a broker? Well, I think there's a lot of talk about that these days. There are a lot of real estate brokers and agents who are concerned that with the internet and the online forums that people will begin to feel like they don't need brokers anymore. And there are also a number of places that are starting to do what we call real estate online, where people can buy their properties online without a broker, just bypass it. So there are people who are concerned about that. I guess the day may come and maybe eventually will come when that is the way that people do things, buying your real estate on sort of an Amazon type platform. But I will say that if your primary reason for using a broker is just to find property, then I don't think that you are really understanding what all the broker can bring. These are complex decisions, and they are expensive decisions. For residential real estate, buying a house those are the largest transactions you will have probably in your lifetime. Every time you buy a house, those are huge sums of money. They just are. And the same is true for commercial. You may be spending very large sums of money to buy a property or to lease a property. And so you really need someone who understands the market. You need to know, one, am I getting a good deal? I mean, that's an important consideration. Two, especially with commercial properties, those can be very complex transactions. As we've been going through these various questions, you have, questions of zoning, you have questions of location, you may need to know about the demographics. There can be all kinds of considerations, tax considerations, economic considerations, economic incentives that can be very important to determining whether or not your business will be successful. With residential real estate, it's the same thing. Those contracts can be very complex, and there can be issues with the house, and you need people that know what they're doing. You need people that are experts in this. So the broker, a broker should not just be for you to find real estate. Sure, that's an important part of what we do, but as you note, you can also do an awful lot of that online. There are people now that are buying property online, and maybe we'll go that way, but I would say that that's a big mistake, because the people, they don't know those markets, you don't know those markets, and you're going in, you're taking a pretty big risk for one of the most expensive decisions that you'll ever make. And if it goes wrong, that can be a very big decision. It can, for example, if you're buying something online, how do you know it's not in the floodplain? How do you know it doesn't flood every year? Yeah, you probably wouldn't know that from information online. And also, it's, prices are very different depending upon, area of the country and even area of the city. And something might look like a good deal online, and maybe it's not. I know one of the things that I do is I also look for property for myself to buy. I've done some home flips, and I'm looking for rental properties and things. So I go and I see properties quite a bit. And you'll have some properties and they will have beautiful pictures, and they seem like they are just too good to be true. And usually they are too good to be true. When I get to those properties, even though online they looked very, very nice, you get there and what you see in person does not even resemble at all what is online. That's not the fault of the people putting it online. Of course, they're going to try to make it look as good as possible. And of course, they're going to put the best pictures forward that they can. They should do that. That's part of marketing that property. But it's very different to see those properties in person. And so there are very important decisions to make. And when you're putting that much online, in my opinion, the thing that the brokers bring to you is not really the search for property. I mean, that can be important, and I don't want to downplay that, because another thing is people might look online and then there might be somebody like me who, maybe I have a client who I've worked with before and they have told me, hey, it's getting close to retirement, and one day here down the road, I may want to sell my property and just go ahead and retire. Well, that's kind of insider market information. It's not listed property, and it's not even, I wouldn't say that it's a pocket listing, because those are illegal. But if you have someone and they call you and they're looking for that, and you think, you know what, I remember my friend said that he might sell if the timing was right, and it might be worth a phone call. So when you know the market, sometimes you know of things that could be available that wouldn't show up. But again, I think that is a useful piece of information. But the most important, in my opinion, is having a market expert. Having someone who knows the market, who understands the process of buying and selling, what kinds of things you need to look out for. You need someone who is looking out for your interest. And, as a real estate broker, I can't offer you tax advice because I'm not a CPA, and I can't offer you legal advice because I'm not an attorney, but I can be familiar with those sort of basic concepts, and I can help you go to people who can answer those questions. If you don't have your own CPA or your own attorney, I can try to guide you toward people that can answer those questions appropriately for you. But you need someone who's been doing this a while and understands the market to know, say, this isn't quite right. This is not, in my experience, a good deal. Or I think you need more advice before you sign on that. Those are the things, the real estate advice, the knowledge of the market. And there's another thing too, I'd say, and I'm going to go a little bit further. Here in the U.S., we have licensure in every state, and so our states all have licensure requirements, and they have departments to oversee that to protect the public, which is good. But I'm going to go a step further and say I would also recommend using a realtor. And by realtor, sometimes people use that term generically, but it is not a generic term. A realtor is a member of the National Association of Realtors. And they have a code of ethics that we all agree to that is over and above what we are legally required to do in the interest of protecting the public. Now, I'm not claiming that people who don't do that are dishonest. That's not that's not at all what I'm trying to say. But I am saying that the people who are realtors, voluntarily agree to a higher standard than they are legally required to do. Now, I have sort of a sideline. I also work with international real estate, and I will be doing some videos on that in the future. I don't want to get too far down into the weeds with that, but I can tell you that the National Association of Realtors has agreements with more than 100 associations around the world in, I believe we're at around 83 countries right now. And those associations, we can have international realtor members in those associations. And those people, like the realtors in the U.S., agree to a code of ethics that takes them above and beyond what is required by law. So when I'm referring business to people, that's important to me, because that code of ethics is extremely important in my confidence in when I am giving one of my clients. I want to be sure that they are taken care of and ethically taken care of. And so that is a very important piece. I don't think that you can understate how important that is. One of the other really nice benefits of being a member of the National Association of Realtors is there are so many education opportunities that are NAR education courses that offer designations or certifications. And for the people that take the time to take these courses, you can feel confident that they are well trained. That you're dealing with people that have an understanding of the market they're serving, and that they have taken the time to take extra education to be sure that they can serve that market well. So I think that there are lots of reasons that you should use a real estate broker. If you may be a sophisticated investor or a sophisticated real estate, person. And if you are, that's fine, but the average person is not. In fact, I would say very few people are. And even the people that are very well experienced and do that, they very often will use people just because they understand that in certain markets, maybe they're not an expert in that market. And so they'll look for someone that is. So a broker offers you a lot more than just access to a listing service, an online listing service. You can find, not all, but you can find a lot of those listings online. You're absolutely right, you can. But that doesn't mean that you can necessarily make a good decision on those things. It's the brokers, the realtors that are there, they are there to offer you advice. And I would say their expertise is really the main benefit you get from using a broker. And so really, I guess that's it. So if you have any questions about that, if you would like to know more about what brokers offer, or about the education that they might have, or those kinds of issues, please feel free to send me a question. Also, if you have any other topics that you would like to be addressed, please let me know about that. I've been having really great feedback on these so far, and I really appreciate all the people that are watching, and I appreciate the topics. So I hope that this is something that you found useful. If so, please like the video. If you think it's something someone else would benefit from, I hope you will share it. And also, if you'd like to keep seeing these, I hope that you will click subscribe. Thanks very much for watching, and I will hopefully see you next time. Have a great day. Take care. Bye.